What's up, guys? Welcome back. The winter is here. That means it's still comfort food season, and one of my favorite comfort food recipes is chili. Now, I have several fantastic chili recipes on this channel, but one of the common trends I get in the comment section is my good people from Texas telling me that's not how you do it. So today I'm making Texas style chili. It's going to be delicious and a little spicy. Make sure you stick around, meet me in the kitchen, let's make it happen. All right, people, you can't have chili without the chilies, and today we're using some California chilies and some ancho chilies. You can use things like guajillo, really whatever chilies you enjoy. These are the two that we're going with, plus some jalapenos. But we need to go ahead and get these de-seeded and rehydrated. We're gonna form like a chili paste that we're gonna, utilize for our chili today. Now, if you don't want the chili to be too spicy, you can omit the jalapenos and just use the dried chilies, or you can just get a can of chipotles and adobo and utilize that. There's a lot of recipes that call for that. It's a little bit simpler version than what we're doing here today. But again, the Texas folks are loud in the comments, so we're trying to do it right, even though I'm sure there'll be some comments. Let's put it that way. But either way, we're gonna give this Texas style chili a try. Again, I have a lot of great chili recipes on the channel. If you want to check them out, I'll link to them below. We're just going to give these like a rough chop, saute them in a skillet, let them kind of open up a little bit, and then we'll rehydrate them with some water and then blend them up. So you'll know that the chilies are toasted properly because they'll start to become aromatic. You'll be able to smell them. So we're going to go ahead and add in some water now. About 2 cups of water roughly. And then we're just going to let them steep. So we're going to kill the heat now and just let the residual heat from the pan and the chilies just kind of rehydrate the chilies. I'm going to try to move them around a little bit, flatten them out so they can be submerged a little bit more than that. But they'll start to rehydrate. Then we'll dump them back in the blender, blend them up, and it'll form like a paste. I got some garlic in there too because we got to blend the garlic up anyway. So they're in there with the hot tub with the chili. All right, guys, so in Texas, the most popular protein out there is beef. So in a Texas style chili, it's gonna be very beefy. Today we're using chuck roast, has a great beefy flavor. It's also relatively inexpensive, depending on where you live. You could also add ground beef to this. You could add sausage. Really, you can customize it however you like. But again, Texas style chili traditionally is gonna be beef, and it's gonna be lots of it. So we're gonna cube this up. It's going to help it braise a little faster. We're going to get some nice seasoning on it, and then we're going to sear it to ensure we get good color and crust. That's going to add texture and flavor. And then we're going to braise it in our chili paste with the beef stock or beer, if that's your thing. Real simple, just cube it up. You use short rib for this too, if you got a little extra money laying around. You could always go to MrMakeItHappen.shop and spend some of that if you want. But there we go. We're going to add that to the mixing bowl, season it with salt, AP, and cumin, and then get it seared up. All right, guys, now it's time to prep the veggies. Here we have some jalapenos. We have 3 in total in the recipe. 2's going in the chili. 1 is preserved for garnish if that's your thing. I'm going to go ahead and remove the ribs and the seeds out of here. And then we're going to dice up an onion. Real simple recipe, not a whole lot of ingredients really. And again, there's absolutely no beans in this recipe. So if you're one of those no bean folks out there, my wife doesn't like beans either, so she's probably excited about this. This is the chili for you. No beans, extra protein, and it's pretty spicy. So you can kind of monitor the spice level though. You can switch up instead of jalapenos, you can use Fresno chilies. They're a little bit sweeter, a little milder. You could also use poblano, which is a little bit less spicy than the jalapeno as well. You can kind of tweak it to your preferences as always. You could also add a little extra brown sugar or something to that effect to kind of sweeten this bad boy up a bit. Because if you're anything like me, I'm kind of a punk when it comes to spice, but I think my tolerance has been getting a little bit better lately, so we're going to put it to the test today. All right, people, next up it's time to sear the chuck roast. We got it seasoned. We let it sit for a good 30 minutes. We got our Dutch oven nice and hot, little oil at the bottom. Place these in, press down to make sure they're making maximum surface area contact with the bottom of the pan or Dutch oven. That way they get an even crust. Don't overcrowd your skillet or pan either. Just do a few at a time probably. I think we'll fit one more in there. There we go. Just brown them up. Brown them up. We're gonna put them in the dish here. Brown up the second half, and then we'll get the rest of the ingredients in here. All right, guys, once the meat is seared, we're gonna go ahead and remove it, leaving behind all that fond and flavor. I'm gonna kill the heat that we don't scorch our onions, and then in goes the onions and the jalapeno. Give them a head start, sweat them down, let them start to soften up, add a pinch of salt. The salt helps release a little water. That'll help us scrape up the fond bits off the bottom. And then we'll get that chili paste in there along with all the other seasonings and flavors. If you want to get this recipe and all of my other recipes, make sure you guys visit MrMakeItHappen.com. That's where you can find all the principal recipes with directions and all that good stuff. So I like to get some of my, dry seasonings in there, like oregano and things like that. That allows them to bloom a little bit, kind of release the flavors. Get them in there with that oil. We're gonna add the cumin in as well too. I like to get them in early so they have time to kind of wake up, so to speak. It's a chili recipe, so you need a good tablespoon of cumin. Going in with a little smoked paprika, about a teaspoon of that. And then my AP seasoning. And I'm also going to add some chicken bouillon powder, mostly for the MSG factor. It's going to give it that flavor that we all like. I'm also going in with a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. That's going to help offset some of this spice that we have from all the chilies, but it's not going to make the chili sweet. More so for balance. Just going to break all that up, give it a good mix, and then we're going in with the chili paste, our tomato products, and then 4 cups of beef broth. If you want, you can add beer here. You can do 2 cups of beer and 2 cups of beef broth. Today we're keeping it simple for my dry January folks out there, and going straight beef broth. Last ingredient going in before the beef goes in is about a tablespoon or so of Worst Word in the World sauce. What the hell, might as well add the rest of that. Tablespoon and a half, sue me. In goes the chuck roast. We're going to bring this up to a gentle simmer, put the lid on it, and let it roll for at least 2 hours. 2.5 hours is probably a more accurate cook time, but we're going to check it for tenderness at the 2-hour mark. If you want a smoother consistency, you can remove the meat, blend this up, and then add the meat back to it. Really depends on how you like your chili. If you want it chunky, you can leave those tomato chunks in. As they, kind of simmer for a couple hours, a lot of that's going to break down anyway. So in goes a little over 2.5 pounds of chuck roast. I'm going to shred it up nice. It's going to be very beefy, great flavor. Speaking of flavor, no flavor left behind. Let's get all of that in there, cover it with the lid, check it in 2 hours. All right, folks, the chuck roast is nice and tender, shredding apart easily with 2 forks. Total cook time was probably closer to 3 hours, but it'll vary depending on the fat content and the size of your chuck roast. This is looking absolutely perfect, though. It doesn't get more tender than that, guys. Just breaking apart with little to no effort. Smelling amazing, too. I'm excited to dig in here and give it a try. I'm going to use my immersion blender to blend up the braising liquid that we have in there. It's going to thicken things up a little bit and just get rid of any, chunky tomatoes. If you want to have the chunky tomatoes in there, then that's cool. But there are some, bigger bites in there that I want to break down. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to leave the chuck roast in relatively larger bites. That way it has a little bit of texture and you can kind of see it. It's not completely shred like pulled pork or something like that. So this is what we're going to have right here. This is roughly a little over 2.5 pounds that we're going to add to the chili. To thicken this up, you can use some masa or some corn flour. You could also use something like xanthan gum or a cornstarch slurry. Really whatever you like. If it had beans in it, you could blend the beans up and that'll thicken it, but in Texas, that's not allowed. So we got some meaty chili here. It's going to be delicious, nice and spicy, flavorful. We're just going to work our chuck roast on in here. And then we're going to garnish this up with some jalapeno, some cheese, some sour cream, a little cilantro. Serve it with rice, cornbread, whatever floats your boat. All right, guys, again, for garnish, we got sour cream, we got jalapenos, we got cilantro, we got some Mexican blend cheese, a little dollop of sour cream, or a large dollop. It's gonna be a little spicy. So, I'm gonna go jalapenos on the edge, a little cheese. And a little cilantro. And there we have it, folks. Texas style chili. All right, guys, it's time to go ahead and garnish this up. This is the part where I say brace yourself for a trademark money shot. Say it with me, guys. Looking good. The only thing left to do is dig in for the taste test. But before we do that, please take a quick second to subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications as well. All right, folks, I found my spoon. It's time to dig in. I'm going to mix a little sour cream on in there, get some cheese. My dog is excited, as you can hear. Let's get a bite of the beef. Here we go. Only thing make this better would be some beans. Jesus.
All right, this is my favorite part.
Chili no beans.
Like a beef stew.